Hello and welcome to day 20. Today we are going to look at the basics of creating a database. Up until now, from day 1, we have been looking at how to query the already database we have, Secular and World. But how do you create this database as a data professional? You come in to a company and they need a database from a scratch. How do you create one? You can also query at the end of the day. Having learned all we have learned till day 20, let's look at how to create a database. So we are going to create a brand new database and we are going to call it StoreDB. And we are just going to have a simple table called product. We said this is Secular database and then it has its own tables. But we are just going to create now a new database with its own table. So let's say step 1. For you to make whatever you write a comment, just start with the 2/ create the database. So this is not going to run because this is a comment. Our comment is written here. So step 1, create the database. So it's going to be create database store db. So let's create our database. That's our first step. Create database store db is being created already. And we said we are going to select the database now. So step 2, select database. And how do we select database? We have been switching between Secular and World, but how do you select the database you want to use? You can use store db. Use store db. So our use store db now is actually being activated. Use store db. We just created a database and we have selected it. So let's create a table called product. Let's say step 3, create a table called product. How do you create a table in our new database now? You start with your create table product. Create table product. Then I'm going to have a product ID. Now this is a product ID. Having a product ID will be our unique identifier, and then I want it, after you give it a name, you have to give it a type. Is it going to be a string? Is it going to be an integer? Is it going to be a decimal? So it's not just enough to create the name of the column. You have to give it its own attribute. So I want it to be a product ID. I want it to be integer. So it means only integer also can be stored. So as a database administrator, as you create it, it also helps with consistency and data quality. So anybody coming in cannot put anything outside an integer. It has to be an integer. It's already predefined by creation. So the next is primary key. What does primary key do? A primary key is a unique identifier for each record in a database table. Unique identifier for each record in a database table. So this primary key now ensure that no two rows have the same value in that key column. No two rows will have the same value. So that means if I have product ID 1 and then I put the product, maybe it's milk or sugar, the next product will not be product 1 anymore. It will be 2. That will be the next unique identifier in the product, and the next it will be 3. Because if I put 1 and I want to put another product and it's the same one, they will actually be duplicate and there will be confusion. So with this product ID now, if my first product is chicken, the product ID can be 1. Then if the next product I'm inputting now is chocolate, it will not be 1 again, it will be 2. The next will be 3. So it's going to be our primary key, a unique identifier for each of your record in the table, and it ensures that no two rows have the same value. So my product ID should be integer and it should be primary key. The next is I want it to be auto increment. What does this auto increment does? So if the first is 1, automatically the next will be 2, the next will be 3. I don't need to be putting it anymore. So this particular table has a column called product ID with integer, primary key, and is on auto increment. And next is product name, and then the var char should be 100. Now I don't know if you have come across this, but the purpose is to store the variable length of string of text varchar, because the product name now can be chicken, can be mango, but the length should not exceed 100. That is what this varchar does. It should not be more than 100. It specifies the maximum number of characters that that product name must carry. That is it. So anything beyond 100 is not going to be accepted. That's what is going to happen to this product name. So it allows flexibility in storing values of different lengths without wasting storage space for shorter text. So with this now, I'm working on my space. I'm working on ensuring there's a particular length of text with this varchar. So we expect product names to vary in length. So 100 characters should be sufficient to store even the largest product, be it smartphone or wireless mouse. 100 should be enough length. So product name will be a text, of course, obviously, and it's not more than 100 in length. Then I have price. My price now should be a decimal. My price should be a decimal. And then I have 10 and then 2. So 10 digits and 2 decimal places. My price should be decimal and then 10 digits and 2 decimal places. After this, I now close the bracket. So I've created a database. I'm using the database now. I'm storing this inside the database. It means it's successful. And then next, what do I want to do? I want to insert data. With this now, what I've just done is just to create a table and then to give each of the column inside the table attribute. I want it to be an integer, primary key, then auto increment. Then it's just 3 columns. Product name should not be more than 100 in length, and it's used majorly for string, only for string, for text. And then I want the price to be decimal. It should be 10 digits and 2 decimal places. So now I have to step 4. What's step 4 used for? What am I doing in step 4? I'm simply inserting data. insert data into the product table. Simple. I want to insert data into this table now. So which keyword are we using? We are using insert into. What's the name of the table? Product. That's the name of the table, product. And then I'm inserting into what? Product name. That's the column. And then price. Remember, I don't need to insert in product ID because it works on auto increment. So if my data will now automatically start from 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't need to insert anything because of this auto increment. So I'm inserting into this. That's the first. Then what am I inserting? Values. That's the next keyword we are using. Values. So I'm inserting first the product name. Make sure it's in your quote because it's string. I'm inserting laptop. And then the laptop price is 799.99. Remember we had we said 2 decimal places here. We said 2 decimal places. So continue again, same values. The next is smartphone. Smartphone should be 499.99. That's for smartphone. The next is headphones. Headphones 99.99. Did you see? So we have our table, and now I'm inserting it. I want a laptop. I want a smartphone. I want headphones inserted. So insert into this product name and price. Then the values, laptop, smartphone, headphones will go into product name, while these other ones will go into price. Let's run and be sure it's correct. So